I'll show you the 6 Florida cities where home prices will crash in 2026 and why the news is saying get out of Florida fast. But here's the thing, they're only telling you half the story. In this video, I'll show you why these cities' home values are crashing and how you can take advantage of it. That despite what the news says, Florida just set this new record, and if Florida eliminates this, like they say they are, the housing market is gonna explode. Let's jump in. So Go Banking Rates just dropped this article calling out 6 Florida cities where home prices are already falling and could crash by early 2026. The big reason they're blaming it on? Florida's weather. It's the same thing that brings people in, and now they're saying it's pushing them out. Insurance prices are exploding, Florida's getting worse, hurricanes are stronger, and it's getting harder to even qualify for a mortgage. Max Dugan Knight, a climate data guy, said this: stronger hurricanes mean higher insurance. Higher insurance means fewer mortgage approvals, and that means home prices drop. Simple chain reaction. So where's the damage showing up first? These 6 cities are already feeling it. At number 1, we got Cape Coral. Average home value is sitting at $356,275, and it's already down 8.9% over the past year. That's a real drop, not just a seasonal thing. Phil Green, a real estate investor, says the city saw a big spike in interest from out-of-state buyers the last few years, but now that interest is fading. He thinks the market here is starting to feel a bit overshot. In other words, prices got way too high, way too fast, and now they're coming back down to earth. At number 2, we got Port St. Lucie. Average home value is $396,225, and it's already down 3.4% over the past year. Nothing huge yet, but the warning signs are there. Phil Green says home prices here are way out of line with what people actually make. His words? Astronomical pricing that local incomes can't support. And when normal income families get priced out, it starts squeezing everybody, buyers and current owners. He even compared it to what's happening in San Diego, where things got too expensive too fast. That's usually when markets start to crack. At number 3, we got Lakeland. Average home value is $315,341, and it's down 3.1% over the past year. The problem? Too many homes. Jenna Stouffer, a real estate advisor in Florida, says there was a big boom in new construction here. Builders went all in, but now there's way more inventory than buyers. She's calling it an inventory glut. And on top of that, foreclosures are starting to tick up. That's not a great combo. At number 4, we got Punta Gorda. Average home value is $362,108, and it's already down 10.8% over the past year. That's the biggest drop on the list so far. Jenna Stouffer says the area got hit hard by Hurricane Ian, and now insurance costs are jumping, especially for older homes and anything near the water. On top of that, home prices here have totally outpaced what people actually earn. She says it's just not sustainable, and with numbers already falling this fast, it looks like things could keep sliding. At number 5, we got Palm Bay. Average home value is $312,525, and it's already down 4.1% over the past year. Daniel Blake, who's the home concierge manager at Clever Offers, says builders rushed in during the pandemic to crank out affordable homes, especially under $300,000, but now that demand's drying up. He thinks if inflation sticks around or we hit even a mild recession, prices here could drop another 10 to 15% over the next year or two. That's a big hit, and it's already heading in that direction. At number 6, we got Tampa. And listen, Tampa makes just about every list out there. I live across the bridge from Tampa in St. Pete, and there's a lot of people in the news preaching doom and gloom about the Tampa Bay area. And I got a lot of thoughts on this one and the other cities. More on that in a minute. Now, average home value in Tampa is $379,156, and it's down 3.7% over the past year. Alexia Morgado, a Florida realtor, says prices could keep slipping. Tampa was hot during the pandemic, especially with out-of-state buyers, that's for sure. But things have changed since mid-2024. Builders went all in, and now there's too much inventory. Nearly half the listings in Tampa Metro have been sitting for more than 60 days. That's a clear sign the market's cooling off. Now listen, every news article about Florida you gotta take with a grain of salt, because I'm just gonna say it. The news doesn't always tell the truth about Florida. Actually, scratch that. A lot of the time, they just flat out lie. especially when it comes to anything good happening in this state. And if it involves Governor Ron DeSantis, forget it. They're gonna twist that into some disaster headline before the words even come out of his mouth. Remember when they were screaming that Canadians weren't coming to Florida anymore and it was gonna destroy our tourism? Really? Because Florida just broke a new record. According to Visit Florida, an estimated 34.435 million people traveled to Florida from April 1st through June 30th of this year, up from 34.279 million people during the same period last year. That makes it a record and the biggest second quarter Florida's ever had. But instead of just saying, hey, Florida's doing great, the news had to spin it negative. Check out this headline: tourism up in Florida, but Canadian numbers drop. That's like saying, your team won the game, but they missed a field goal. Who cares? They'll do anything to make it sound like this place is falling apart, even when the numbers say the opposite. The truth is, people are still moving here. They reach out to me all the time about it. People are still visiting here. The weather's still great, and this place is still paradise. And to all my Canadian friends watching, don't listen to the headlines. Come on down. The water's warm, the beaches are clean, and we got plenty of room for you. Now, I'm not saying the stats in the article are bad. They're true, but my beef is the premise behind the article. Let me explain what I mean. According to the article, these Florida cities are sinking fast, and with no other information, you'd think to avoid these cities at all costs, right? But that couldn't be farther from the truth, because this is actually the best time to buy a house in Florida. Here's why. Do you remember Florida back in 2022? If you wanted to buy a house, you better be ready to throw $50,000 over asking and still lose. It was chaos. People were lined up, homes were flying off the market in hours, and if you blinked, someone else bought your house. That's how wild it got after the pandemic. Everybody wanted in, and demand went through the roof. Now, it's a different story. Interest rates are sitting in the mid-sixes, a few hurricanes have made people nervous, and the market's finally chilled out. What used to be a red-hot seller's market is now wide open for buyers. So if you're a buyer and you're just sitting on your hands right now, what are you doing? This is what you've been hoping for. No bidding wars, no pressure. You can actually breathe, take your time, and get a deal. But here's the part nobody's talking about. Demand didn't disappear, it just paused. The second rates drop, and they probably will, especially with Trump pushing for it and the Fed hinting at it, everything's gonna light back up. Multiple offers, homes gone in a weekend, people fighting over listings like it's 2022 all over again. And if you're still sitting on the sidelines when that happens, you're gonna miss it. Again, right now homes are sitting for an average of 86 days in Florida. That's your shot. No crazy competition, no panic buying, and if you can swing the monthly payment at today's rate, you're set. Because here's the move. Lock in a lower price now, refinance later when rates drop, and you'll win twice. Or wait and end up paying way more for the same house. And it's true, Florida's not dirt cheap anymore. That's because people finally realize what it is. You get freedom, sunshine, and zero state income tax. During the pandemic, people came here to escape lockdowns, and once they got here, they weren't leaving. They realized this place is paradise. Demand went nuts and prices followed. That's what happens when you live somewhere people make TikTok videos about. Millionaires live here, billionaires live here. People who could live anywhere they want to in the world choose to live in Florida. And waves of people are still moving in every single day. And as far as the Tampa Bay area goes, yeah, you're gonna see values drop a bit, but that's just because they shot up like crazy the last few years. It's not crashing, it's correcting. That's normal. And there's still a ton of demand for high-end homes. I got a buddy building 3 luxury houses in Tampa right now. And these aren't slapped together builder-grade homes either. I'm talking every fine finish you can think of. These places are gonna look like something out of a magazine. It's what he does for a living, and they do an amazing job. They're building the first floor living space 12 feet up, so it's up and out of the flood zone. Ground floor, all garage space. And get this, they're installing car lifts. So if a hurricane floods the area, your car literally gets lifted up out of the water. He's elevating all the AC units, electrical, everything. The whole setup's basically hurricane-proof. One of the homes is on Davis Island, and the master bedroom's gonna have a view of downtown Tampa. It's gonna be insane once it's done, and you better believe people are gonna be lined up to buy it. And if DeSantis gets his way, that line's about to get a whole lot longer, because this one's gonna blow your mind. Governor DeSantis is actually talking about getting rid of property taxes on personal homes. No more paying yearly rent to the government just for owning your house. Here's what's happening. He just brought in a new CFO, Blazing Golia, and the guy's not messing around. He's already launching investigations into cities across Florida, trying to figure out where all the money's going. They started this thing called Florida DOGE, or Department of Government Efficiency, but Blaze says he wants to rename it to Florida Agency for Fiscal Oversight, or FAFO for short. I'll let you figure out what that stands for. They're asking the same questions we're all asking. Why are cities raising property taxes like crazy when nothing's getting better? Broward County's a perfect example.
So we're here in Broward County, and I think most people know there's some criticism of how the county government has operated. And I think over the last 5 years, taxpayers here in Broward have watched their county government has increased property tax burdens by the tune of $450 million in addition to ad valorem collections. So that's an increase of close to 50% just since 2020. But yet, the population of Broward has barely grown at all, less than 5% net since 2020. So why is the tax going up almost 50% while the population is going up less than 5%?
Now, here's where this matters if you're thinking about buying a house. If Florida actually eliminates property taxes, it's going to be like Black Friday in the real estate market. Buyers are going to flood the market, demand's going to shoot up, prices are going to jump, and the people who waited, they're going to be too late again. So if you're thinking of buying, this is your window right now while nobody's paying attention. Grab your house, lock in the deal, and if property taxes go away, you just got yourself a huge win. And if you're serious about buying in Florida, this is how you play the game when the market's cooling off. First, start watching the cities we talked about earlier, the ones where prices are dipping. That's where the deals start showing up. You're not gonna find a steal on the beach in Naples, but you might find one in Cape Coral or Palm Bay if you're paying attention. Second, find a good realtor. And no, I don't mean your sister's cousin's boyfriend's nephew who just passed his real estate exam. Remember, it takes a year to get licensed to cut hair. It takes 50 hours in a classroom to sell a house. Get somebody who knows what they're doing and have them set you up on a 30 days on market search. That just means homes that have been sitting for at least a month. And usually, it's because they were priced way too high right out of the gate. Buyers saw the price, rolled their eyes, and moved on. But now, it's been 4 weeks, maybe 5, and the seller's starting to feel it. They're getting no showings and no offers, and they know the longer it sits, the worse it looks. That's when they start thinking, maybe we should take less just to get it sold. That's your chance. You come in with a solid offer below asking, they'll take the deal just to stop the bleeding. You're happy, they're relieved, and you just got a great deal. Third, you gotta always be watching the market. If you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss the best stuff. My buddy just sold his mother-in-law's house down here. She needed the cash fast because her health unfortunately was going downhill, and they didn't have time to wait around. The house was in good shape, just a little dated. They priced it right, got 17 showings that weekend, and it sold for $1,000 over asking. Why? Because the buyer was watching, ready to jump, and he got a great deal. Oh, hey, dude, I didn't see you.
I was like, do I stop or not?
What's up, buddy? No, you can stop. Here, I'll get me and you in there.
What's up, guys?
My buddy just saw me filming. I wanted to get him in the shot. Back to the video. Listen, man, stuff happens in people's lives. People need to sell fast. You got to be ready when it does, or someone else is going to grab it before you even knew it was there. And if you're still sitting around waiting for some massive 2008 style crash, that ain't gonna happen. Think about it. If the average home price in Florida dropped from $400,000 to $80,000, what would you do? You'd buy every single house you could get your hands on, right? And so would everybody else. Cash buyers, investors, people with deep pockets, they'd all be on it in seconds. You wouldn't even get a chance because we've all learned the same thing. Real estate bounces back. It always has. So if prices ever did crash that far again, demand's gonna go through the roof because there's too much money floating around out there right now. There's too many people watching, too many buyers waiting for their shot. The only way we get another meltdown like 2008 is if banks start handing out insane loans to people who can't pay them back. And after the last time, that's not gonna happen in our lifetime. And if you're serious about finding a great deal, click here to learn the 6 ways buyers are landing great houses in Florida. We're talking hidden deals, properties with zero competition, and one inspection tip that could save you thousands on a brand new built home. Click here and I'll see you there.